Welcome to Ren Behind the Practice. I'm Sophie Campisi. I'm a holistic business strategist, and I spend a lot of my time in conversation with practitioners, coaches, and healers about the behind the scenes of their businesses. What I started noticing is that some of the most honest, important conversations about building a practice were happening quietly, one-on-one, behind the scenes, and often in isolation. Most practitioners are incredibly skilled at the work that they do with their clients, but very few of us were ever taught or trained in how to build a successful startup business. And suddenly we've been left to figure it out on our own. This podcast exists to bring those conversations forward. The dreams, the uncertainty, the highs and lows, the recalibrations, and the messy middle. My hope is that by normalizing these conversations, we can soften the stigma, feel less alone, and start closing the gaps together. Today's guest is Deb Arth. Deb is a certified professional hypnotist, a certified professional subconscious block removal specialist, and she is the owner of Empowered Minds Hypnosis. Deb, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much for showing up and having this conversation with me.
Hi, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Before we look behind the scenes today, can you share with us a little bit about the work that you do?
Sure. I would like to share with the story of basically how I got to where I'm at, because it's not like your typical run of the mill where I didn't wake up and say, "Oh, I'm going to be a hypnotist." How it started was I've been involved in network marketing for well over 30 plus years. And one of the businesses that I was in, there was this gal and she was like blowing away the sales numbers. And so they had her on a sales call and they're like, well, it's almost like you're hypnotizing people. And she's possibly. So from that, she had this course that she offered, and it was basically like hypnotic words for like marketing and things like that. So I thought, oh, well, this is interesting because I've always been fascinated with the mind. I've always been intrigued by how that works. So I took that course. That led me to her Hypnosis 101, Hypnosis 201, 301 is where I got my certification. And I'm certified through the ICBCH, which is I can practice anywhere in the world, basically. And I also have got myself certified to be a subconscious block removal specialist. And basically, I work on helping to like regulate people's nervous systems. And I have a business. It's not a full-time business because I do work my job. And I work with developmentally disabled adults, and I've worked with them for it'll be 22 years in August. So that's kind of how I made my transition. And this is something that I'm absolutely aligned with because I would think that with the marketing, that a certain product or a certain strategy or a certain, you name it, was going to solve the world. And this is actually like true heart-centered type of work for real changes. So that's how I got to where I'm at.
So, from the point that you got your certification after that 301 course,
Yes.
did you start practicing as a hypnotherapist or a hypnotist right away?
It took me a little while to get the business kind of up and running, to get the different ins and outs. And then since I'm not in a traditional like office space or brick and mortar, I do everything over Zoom. So that way I can reach a lot more people. I was struggling a little bit at first, to try to get things going and to try to get the clientele. I ended up hiring my mentors that certified me in hypnosis to help me with like strategies for social media and also to help like the strategies. So I know from when the point that I intake the client, the whole process of how that looks.
How
So
long ago was that?
I've been certified for 2 years. I hired the coaches in that last year. And then I have had some clients, but not completely steady type of thing.
Totally. Yeah. Super fresh, which is a great place to be, honestly, to be, even having conversations like this. I think that Based on what I can tell from the industry and, we look at the world, the wave is coming, like it's starting to pick up now. And
Yes.
it's a great time. It's a great time to be having these conversations and being right here.
Yeah, and I've done everything from, affiliate marketing, I've done, the traditional network marketing, I've done regular sales, and so I know you still have to market, you still have to communicate with people, you still have to have conversations with people, you still have to build up that trust and all those things. So yeah.
Have you seen, so when you hired your mentor to help with some of the business stuff, have you seen any of that work so far, or is it just still really fresh? Did it make any difference? Did it move the needle in any
Uh,
way?
it definitely made a difference with the like my social presence because I basically rebranded myself. And then it did help for the strategies for when I get the clients because it was kind of random. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this and then I'll do this and then I'll do this. But it has helped as far as that it's helped me to where I have more of the confidence for kind of more of like the higher ticket packages and things of that nature.
When you look ahead to the next 6 to 12 months, what goals do you have for your work and for your business?
I would like to make this to where this is my full-time job or my full-time career. Where I work right now, there's this threat that they're through the state, they're trying to close those facilities down. It's really uncertain. And then the people that we might be getting in there are a lot more like behavioral health. And with me getting older, I really just kind of don't want to deal with the aggressiveness and things like that. That's the direction. So I definitely want to make this my full time, do what I do.
What are some of the things that you feel like you would need before that could happen?
I think definitely the having the current or like the constant flow of clients, getting it to where if I do work with someone, then I have people that they'll refer to me and then kind of help so it like organically grow.
What do you think it's going to take, like actual action steps for you to get to that point where you have consistent client flow and that momentum going with your practice?
I think for me, in the back of my head, I have that kind of that crutch of my having my job to fall back on. I was in a business before and it didn't really go all that well. And so I had a lot of hesitation and things of that nature. And so I think fully committing myself and basically going all in and saying, this is what I really truly want to do instead of having that security blanket in a sense.
Totally.
And then just getting my name out there a little bit more.
Do you have any thoughts or plans or strategies that you feel like you would follow if and when to do that, to like hit that visibility
I don't,
doing it?
yeah, I don't really have any set game plan. So in a sense, I'm still kind of bobbing along, just like, okay, maybe this will work. Maybe, throwing things at the wall, seeing what's going to stick, if you will. Yeah.
Totally, which most people do, especially at the beginning. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people, and you heard me say it in the intro, we are in an unregulated space, generally speaking. There's not a clear, like a traditional therapist where you get certified and then it's like, okay, these are your job options and this is how you build your practice. Like, we don't
Yes.
have those clear pathways or that roadmap of like, this is a very solid predictable, if you will. There's always risk in
Sure.
entrepreneurship, but we don't have any of that roadmap. And so part of what we're all dealing with is, what you're saying of there aren't clear ways of saying like, yep, this is the path I want to follow. It's kind of chaotic, and a pattern that comes up so much when I talk to people is there is a lot of noise, there is a lot of overwhelm, there's so much out there, people saying try this, do that, well try this method, try this tactic. A lot of people are like, I don't even know what to listen to. I don't know what to trust. I don't know what is the right thing. And, you're really fresh on your business building, but that's people who have been in it, even me at a certain point when I've been doing it for 8 years, 9 years, I still felt that way of like, I will take the action. I will invest the money and the time, but
Mhm.
is this the right thing to do? Is it not? Like, is this going to actually move the needle? I don't know.
And there's so much noise out there. There's so many gurus, there's so many coaches, and at a certain point, it's like you're investing in your and you're investing and you're investing and you're investing, and it's like, okay, when is it gonna finally? What's that tipping point where it's gonna finally move you and get you to where you want to go, so you don't just feel like you're just spinning your wheels?
Totally. Yeah. Is there anything that feels especially uncertain or unclear for you at this point?
I think it's just what I said earlier, just about having that little backup to where I'm not 100% into it. Because, when I had my business before, I mean, it literally, I went through bankruptcy, I went through all kinds of things. And so part of me is kind of going, well, I don't want to rent a space because I don't want to deal with that again. And I do like the idea that I can do most of my practice virtually, but sometimes it's just getting awareness to that, getting awareness to the fact that I'm open for business without spending thousands of dollars on advertising or something like that.
Did you say what was your other business? Did you say what it was?
It was this business, and actually, what they would do is they would sell like wholesale, like cologne and perfume. And then we had to lease these buildings. And then basically, I wasn't making the sales and I wasn't building up the business. And then I ended up getting sued for the balance of the loan for the lease. So that's what I did. But
So
that
it
was
was,
when I was really young. I was
yeah.
probably maybe early 20s when I did that.
Totally. So, yeah, I mean, part of what you were saying is like, and this has come up with me with several practitioners of like the pros and cons of brick and mortar versus virtual, which is like running a virtual business. Obvious pro, one of the main ones is you don't have as much overhead, you don't need to pay rent. Cons is when it comes to visibility, it is a completely different ball game. When you have a brick and mortar, people
Yeah.
finding you isn't completely certain, but like it's just a different ball game. People might actually see you. You can actually put out flyers. People might search hypnotherapy near me. Like that is an avenue that does make getting the visibility and getting some clients a little more predictable and a little bit more to work with. Then when you have completely virtual business, it is a completely different ball game. So yeah, it really is pros and cons. I mean, you know what you're saying, like there's not an obvious answer. Some people do both, and some people prefer one or the other. But I would say, as you probably know, the majority of practitioners, healers right now are completely virtual.
Yes. And then getting people to understand, in a sense, that you can do hypnosis virtually, because so many people have it in their mindset that, well, one, the Hollywood version, and then they also have in their mindset that they have to be sitting in the room with you, and it's just all energy. So basically, and then trying to get people to understand that sometimes where they're like, I don't get it. How is that going to work?
Do you have a specific target market in mind at this point?
I mostly have like the target market as people that are willing and are committed to make the change, because I can't do it for them. I communicate with your subconscious mind, but unless you're willing to do it, I can't do it for you. And also, it's just working on, regulating people's nervous systems. And then with me being the subconscious block removal, I mean, I'll do therapy on just about anything, people need, if they want to stop smoking or if they want, to release weight or whatever. But it's mostly focusing on the subconscious blocks, because I think until you remove those, you're not going to get to the place that you need to be for the true work that you need to do for yourself.
Absolutely. Do you have, you've had some clients. How have you found the ones or connected with the ones that you've had so far?
I've had there's really only been like two that I've known personally as far as working with them or something of that nature. and the rest of them have been found online.
How are they finding you? Through your social media?
See, social media, I've been in some of the groups, different groups, and then I mostly do the groups that are like the holistics, the Reiki, different things that are, kind of revolve around this, like yoga thing, different things that deal with that, and just like kind of referrals from like friends, or like I'll post something, and then one of the gals that I got, she was kind of like, well, oh, but too bad I don't live in your state. And then I was able to explain to her, well, no, I can do it anywhere. And then she's like, oh, okay, well, then I can absolutely go with you then. So it's kind of educating people and getting people warmed up to the idea. Yeah.
Is there anything else that feels especially heavy? Like now, you're about 2 years in, and I know you're not fully doing it full time yet, but you're still in it enough to have it. I'm assuming, as you already know, like it doesn't really leave you
No.
once you start this. It's not like you can actually really turn it off.
Right.
Is there anything that feels especially heavy about it?
The only thing I can say is, as with anything, the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And so you'll have, better sessions, you'll have better things. So if I go a while in between the sessions and I don't have a current, current clientele or anything, then it's kind of like getting like restarting each time. And every session that I do, it's custom to the person. So it's never what I want to do. I talk with them, and I, pivot. Sometimes I might be thinking, oh, we're going to work on this. And they're like, yeah, I want to talk about, why I can't talk to my cat. Okay, so I guess we're doing that now. So yeah, I think that's probably the heaviest thing, just being able to get that momentum going and get it to where I'm consistent and I'm working with people and I'm constantly building on that.
And what you're saying is really, I was just talking with the last podcast episode. Confidence comes from competence. And that's like authentic confidence, not fake it till you make it, and not arrogance, but like actual confidence. And there's only one way to gain that competency. And it takes time and it takes repetition. And, when we're entrepreneurs, we're balancing the fact that some things take linear time, but also we do need clients to go deeper into our mastery and go deeper into the work and get more clear on who our people are. And, we're running that on two levels, like one with our competency, with our modality, but also with our business. And it's so much for us to carry alone. And these things are necessary. So yes, things take time, but also you have that relationship to time that is repetition. And if we can't get the business part to flow enough to get us the repetition that we need to also get more competency and become more masterful at what we do, then we're just in that limbo, that back and forth between the reality of being a service provider and while simultaneously being an entrepreneur and having to deal with the realities of I'm running a startup business.
And my thing is too, is I want to, and not to try to sound greedy or anything like that. I want to get to myself to a point to where I can take the higher caliber type of clients that are willing to pay more money. So I'm not having to do as many sessions at a lower rate to make, say my goal is to make 7,000 a month, just for example. I don't want to have to sit there and, just like nickel and diamond or whatever. I want to get to a point where it's less, you work smart in a sense, have higher quality people that are willing to pay for like real change. That's not the people like, oh, hey, do you do payment plans? Or, I'm kind of broke today. And, that kind of, that process.
Yeah, it's hard. And I think a lot of us fall into that when we start off. We want to help anyone and we want to help everyone. And also, we need clients. And it is a balance between finding that starting place where sometimes we might be more lenient, then getting to that place where we can raise our standard, raise the bar, have a price point that we're confident about that supports us. And it goes back to kind of what we were just talking about. It's what comes first, the chicken or the egg, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not black and white.
No.
Unfortunately, there are maybe a lot of people out there that say, I think this is a misconception. I think this is a myth. And I see a lot of people incorrectly and inaccurately given this advice to like raise your price super high right off the bat. Don't take anything less. I don't fully agree with that. Going back to the confidence and the competence conversation, if you are priced out of where you feel confident enough to hold that, it's actually
Mhm.
going to negatively impact you and the work, and you're not going to actually thrive in that pricing model. So it goes back to kind of like the chicken or the egg. It's like you need to price at a point where you're getting people you can feel confident about that price, even if it's a starting price. And that's usually how I frame it and recommend to people. It's like it will raise. It will raise. Set this price. And now we have, I do everything on Calendly. There are so many automatic booking things. And I'll set a price for 10 people or 15. I'll say, like, at this price, I'm going to run 10 of these sessions at this price because by 10, I'm going to have so much more information. I'm going to feel more confident and I'm going to
Yeah.
raise my price after 10. So I think that there's something to, absolutely what you're saying. We want to get there. And, some people will give this advice of like, raise your price, like, don't take anything less. And that's not always true. And you're already like feeling that because if we, like I already said, I had a mentor who told me once a long time ago when I was starting out 10 years ago, what price, there's a few pricing strategies, but it's like, what price do you feel comfortable charging? And then bump it a little bit, but
Sure.
don't price out of your comfort zone because you will never be confident enough to hold the space of that price.
But then you don't want to be coming across looking cheap either, because some people are going to be like, well, what kind of service are you going to have for blah, 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 XYZ price type of thing. So it's that very fine line.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's true. It's true. I think, one other thing to always keep in mind is the clientele and what is their major concerns. Not all, I teach people how to build businesses with their people, right? Like their target client, their zone of impact at the center of everything they do. And so you also need to be aware if you have a clientele that is really price conscious, that's going to be something to be more aware of. But if you have a clientele that is going to relate to price and cost as a standard of practice, then you need to be aware of that because they're going to be sensitive to price in a completely different way. If you're
Sure.
undercharging, it's going to negatively impact. So a lot of that is also, right, it's not black and white. Part of that is because our clients are very different and
Sure.
their relationships to money and the things that they think about and they care about and the way that impacts our business model. So yeah, it is. It's a not a negative conundrum, but it is. These are
Sure.
also a lot of things that aren't talked about a lot. And
Right.
too often business coaches or business courses or people will say like you have to price this way, and it's not true. There are different ways to find price points and there are so many factors that go into it. So I'm saying for you and also anyone that's listening, if anyone is suggesting a strategy and saying like this is the way you have to do it, it's just a red flag because it's not true. It's not true. It's this one isn't black and white.
And see, my mentor, when she's based out of Arizona, and when she did her business, it was all brick and mortar. And she had one of the top therapy places in Arizona for like 3 years. And she was opening up other offices. She was completely booked and she was just completely, crazy with it. And then her husband, he did all of his, because it was right during COVID and everything. He did his hypnosis business virtually. And so you can see like the huge difference. And then my mentor, she had like kind of like this, it's like a level one, and then for the pricing strategy. And then she says, once you hit these many clients or whatever, and then you bump it up to the next level type of thing. So it's definitely interesting to see it from both perspective with the actual brick and mortar and then being able to have the success through the virtual end of it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what you're saying, what she recommends, I feel like that's a really solid approach. Going back to like, why would you bump it at a certain number? Because your experience is directly correlated to, usually, of course, maybe some people they're not really meant for the work, but that competency that it takes, and you can hold the price of something way more confidently. And if you can hold the space of a certain price point, absolutely, you will attract the clients at
Yes.
that price point. Absolutely. But you have to be able to hold the space of that price to
Hmm.
have it be a really solid place for you to sit.
Yes, absolutely.
If you're not able to get your work and your practice to the place that you want, whether that's a specific number of clients or the ability to go full time, reaching that 7,000 a month or more, whatever it is for you, what's the cost? What's the bigger cost to you, to others, to the world?
To me, it would be going out of something that since I'm so aligned with this, to me it would be not like an insult to my soul, but it would be going back to something that I don't want to do. It's not my path. It's not what I want to do. And I know that there's people that truly need these services and people need help and they need different things. And things are only getting worse, like in the mental health atmosphere and all that. So I think to me, that would be probably the biggest thing. I just don't want that feeling of being trapped or just doing something because I have to do it because I have to pay the bills because that's kind of where I'm at with my job. I mean, I don't like my job, but it pays my bills right now. So that's that to me would be the biggest thing. I don't want to go backwards and not be aligned with what I'm supposed to be doing.
It's a huge cost.
Yes. Yes, it is.
It's one of the double-edged sword, I guess, of finding something that is a true calling and true purpose is that the cost of it not working is major.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's not just like, oh, I'll just get another job. And I mean, jobs are a dime a dozen. But yeah,
Deb, thank you so much for joining me today to have this conversation. And for those of you who are listening, if any part of this resonated, you're in the right place, please reach out. I want to hear from you. And if you want to reach Deb directly, the link to her website is in the show notes. Thank you again, Deb, and to everyone else, thank you for listening. And we'll see you for the next episode of Ren Behind the Practice.